Say what?
Hello and welcome back. It's time for Say What, where we hear from those connected to the industry about what's going on in our world of electrical apprenticeship. And this does include any topics that you suggest, so please do keep those coming. I'm your host, Cindy Sandifer. So, building the workforce of the future requires really strong partnerships and intentional investment in talent, in people. Through the Clean Technology Training Trust's growing partnership with the IBEW as one of their affiliates and us, the ETA's complementary collaboration with CTTT, we're helping to expand access to high quality training. We're going to strengthen apprenticeship pathways and prepare workers for the evolving demands of clean energy, of advanced manufacturing, and the electrical industry. It's an extremely exciting time for innovation, for workforce transformation, and creating opportunities that benefit workers, employers, and communities. So today, we're really excited to explore what this means for the future of the trades. And I am thrilled to have the National Executive Director of the Clean Technology Training Trust join us. Please welcome Dr. Kim Moore. Dr. Moore, I feel like I know you. Like I've gotten to know you a little bit and we became fast friends, which is always wonderful. But I'd like to introduce my new friend to everyone else. So I want to kind of start with you and have you introduce yourself, share a bit about your background, your professional journey, the experiences that have shaped this work that you're doing today.
Well, one, to say that it's a pleasure to be here with you, Cindy, and you are right. We have become fast friends with the ETA. Just a wonderful, wonderful group of people who are committed to doing this work, and it's exciting to be a part of this conversation today. So just a little bit about myself. I've spent a couple of decades in workforce, economic development, and innovation. I love to say that I was a founder in that regard, but then that would date me. So I'll say I joined the movement. Just say I joined the movement. And because of that, whether that meant leading a workforce system in Florida where it involved working with employers and job seekers and community to make sure that there was a trained workforce, led that as CEO and then transitioned into education as a vice president for workforce innovation, did that for over a decade, literally working hand in hand with employers and community to create programs that really open doors for a lot of people, open doors. And I called it really the period where it was creating commas for individuals and not closed doors. Yeah. And I think that's so important. That's why I think I've stayed so connected to this work. And it was even more powerful as I stepped into this role as the inaugural National Executive Director with the Clean Technology Training Trust to be able to continue that work and to be able to point it in a new direction, these emerging industries, but not lose the focus of every person matters and how we create pathways for them and how employers get to train workforce that they need. It's a win-win, and it's a thing that's going to power our nation and just really a powerful place and space to be in. So I'm so excited to just continue this conversation with you today.
Yeah, the only thing I'm a little concerned about is you said you've been doing stuff for decades, but you're like 30. So how do you do decades of work and you're only 30?
Well, you have to ask my mom that, who literally talks about from a year on, and I believe her. I believe she tells the truth. She said, I was a kid that always walked around with paper even before I could read. So I'm the one that was going to be that administrator, going to be that driver. I guess it's just in my DNA. So that's how we get to those 2 decades. I started early,
It's like all tracking now. I get it. I totally get it. Oh my God. I love your passion for people, and I'll plug this now and probably another time. But your LinkedIn, I started following you, and I feel uplifted, and I feel challenged and inspired, and it's and self-reflective as I read what you share, and it's just your passion for workforce development and all of it. It's you're not saying only the people and the employees matter, only the organization and company matter. And I love so much how you're able to see it, the big picture.
Everyone matters. Yeah, everyone matters, and how we lift this and how we carry this work out. And the great thing about it is that we can't get there without each other.
That.
Yeah.
Never have been able to. Never have been able to, right? All right. So defining moment, I think a lot of us have those in our, maybe an experience that we've had in our career or personal lives that shape what we do. And so for you, when you think about workforce development, opportunity, leadership, all of those, is there something that really you feel like defines your passion?
I would have to say early in my career, I was actually a case manager, and I work with individuals on helping them to come up with their next, come up with a plan that would allow them to be the best version of themselves, self-sufficient. And I realized that though I was very committed to that, one person at a time, this was a part of a larger calling, that you really had to be in a position that could affect this change on a larger scale. So I've always been intrigued by not just the one individual at a time, but how do we make sure that systems do what we believe can be done to help people be the best version of themselves, and at the same time not lose sight of these bigger goals of that, how we were founded with small businesses as a backbone in our country, that we don't lose sight of helping them at the same time, and that we just bring everybody around the same table and we all win. So I think that was probably just the inspiring thing for me, that, hey, you get it, but how can you, in whatever space you have, be the spark for doing that on larger platforms?
Yes. And the table, I love that analogy. It's like, no, we can just add chairs. We can add, little, whatever, the leaves in the middle of the table, like whatever we have to do to get everybody there. And it's brilliant. It's again, I feel like it's truly the only way to do things, though we see it being done outside of that scope. But I just don't think the true full fulfillment and success is there when we leave that aspect out. Like something's missing always.
Something is missing because potential, again, it's wrapped up and baked up in these ideas that we all collectively bring. It doesn't matter what role you play in an organization, from janitor to CEO. Every contribution matters. And I think, again, that's what inspires me so much about workforce development, because we all get to write this story together. But the story, in terms of it being a bestseller, will never happen unless everybody gets to weigh in with their voice. So,
yes. Oh my gosh. So a lot of the listeners were like me earlier this year and hadn't heard of the Clean Technology Training Trust. So what is it? Let's go ahead and answer that question.
So the Clean Technology Training Trust, and for some that might be a mouthful, so I call it the CTTT because it's so much more. But the Clean Technology Training Trust, it was created to address one of the most, what I consider to be the most critical gaps seen in clean transportation and advanced manufacturing 4.0. And I know we can unpack that, but really when it comes to work readiness, and specific to clean transportation and even advanced manufacturing, this whole idea of making sure that there is a ready workforce and that the infrastructure is in place to kind of advance that rapidly. The trust exists to really build that nationally, to align it, to create customized solutions for industry, and to make sure that we are doing it safely, reliably, and at scale. And might I mention, built on that foundation in partnership with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW. So we are an affiliate there. So that great history that exists there on electrical, we are using that as our core to build on these emerging industries that we know are in desperate need of a workforse.
Right. So you're solving a problem. That's the trust is solving this.
We're doing the thing I point out is that we're doing it with industry and with colleges and with technical. So everyone, again, the table aspect of everyone being at the table, but we create these national registered apprenticeships, which is absolutely great for employers when they're thinking about how do we make sure that if we have a footprint that extends beyond one local geography, how do we make sure that there's some consistency and standards. We create that in partnership with them. So the partners are, again, employers sitting at that table co-authoring this with us. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you mentioned the IBEW because a lot, our listeners, right, we're talking about electrical apprenticeship and this world that the ETA lives in. And so the connection, and you touched on it, but like that connection, can you talk a little bit more why this involves the electrical industry?
Absolutely. Our core reason, again, for existence is in support of the IBEW workforce, that membership. So when you think about those that are already members and the ability to add additional skills to their tool belt, that's what we do. It's how do we are already relevant, but how do we make sure that the history that we have, we build on that and we point it into the future, and we do it in these two areas, clean transportation, advanced manufacturing. And the other side of that is that we recognize that there's another generation of members that we hope to bring on board. And part of that is making sure that they have multiple pathways to be a part of IBEW, and especially in these emerging areas, and of course in construction and electrical, that just will always be the core of who we are.
Yeah, and I've heard, we use different terms, but power professionals, energy professionals, those are things that have been used to describe our industry. And I think it's so important that we recognize that as people are coming into the industry, again, maybe they're young and coming out of high school or, college. Yeah, they did that, but whatever. Or they're, in their 40s or 50s looking for a career change. And regardless of what it is, I think pointing out those opportunities, because so often we'll say the term electrician. And it's really narrowing to all the things that these power professionals do. So I love what you're saying, because it's like, let's keep adding, because there's skill sets, there's interests, and it's a market we can capitalize on.
Market that we can capitalize, and think about it. IBEW has the largest electrical workforce in the world. All of these new and emerging areas build on that. So for the Clean Technology Training Trust to be that affiliate partner, it's powerful because we are the only system that is already designed, infrastructure in place with nearly 300 training centers across the country that can do this with the locals, in partnership with the locals, in partnership with IBEW, the districts, the international office. I mean, we are the only one that, when you talk about being fully prepared to take it to the next level and scale across a nation, that's what's exciting, both about the present and the future.
Yeah, because the foundation has been laid, right? And, and it's proven.
Yes.
So yeah, you're right. It's like, let's jump in there.
Yeah.
And not have to reinvent wheels.
Right? No reinvention, just build it out and point to, again, for our membership and those that are listening, what's exciting is that this is an add-on. It's an add-on where we're not saying you lose anything that you already know. It's saying that this is, how do you continue to be and contribute? And here's the other thing, for industry is so powerful because, again, they get to think about it from not only can IBEW build and operate, but now it's the maintaining as well in these new areas. So again, it just speaks to value on all fronts.
Yes. And I love it, adding. This is not taking away. And I think that's a super important message. Like, we're not taking away from the expanse of apprenticeship, what it's been, the beauty of it, and the, being true to its nature. But this idea that we are often talking about recruitment and retention. And there's no way that adding on more value to the work that we do, more facets to it, is not going to also impact recruitment and retention.
It's
a win-win.
It's a win-win. And again, it helps industry understand it is that signal that we are in tune with what's going on, because as we go on the floors of manufacturing shops, or even looking at vehicles, that are looking at the electrification or whatever it may, or alternative fuel sources that they may use, it is not like it was years ago. Everything involves technology. And I think the whole idea of having this technology piece and recognizing that, whether you have grandkids listeners or it's your own kids, they are digital natives from the womb, they can operate smartphones. So they expect to see that in the workplace. So this also answers that.
Yes, because we can't be who we're supposed to be if we are holding on so tightly to what was. There's beauty in it, there's lessons and learning, but we can't. And I have a whole different like soapbox I get on, but
Yeah.
when we utter the words, well, this is how we've always done it. We've never done it that way. Anything like that often is prohibitive to growth and to effectiveness. And so I love this, it's like, no, this is all consuming, all a part of, we don't want to be dinosaurs
Absolutely.
right now.
You can't afford to, because again, even if we were to, like you said, with the soapbox and think about it, that even our founders, it meant that it didn't exist. And so they were entrepreneurial and innovative. We have to continue that. That has to be a part of the DNA of all of the work that we're doing. And it's great to see that with the ETA as well, because even through our partnership, how exciting with Todd and Greg, listeners, you know them out there probably well, is just that they are always so open to new ideas. They are such great thought partners with the Clean Technology Trading Trust. And it's just been powerful to be able to push these things forward in collaboration.
Yes. Okay. So now I'm going to picture sweet little, baby. Well, okay, we won't make you a baby. We'll make you a toddler. But, all this passion that was resonating with your paper, as you were walking around doing administrative things in your house. So thinking like, why did you personally, why did you become connected to this? What made you want to get involved? Something had to resonate with you, about the work. So just curious what that was.
So I have never been one to run away from something that was new. Startups, nonprofit, for-profit, I've done those in my background. And if it was new, I had no problem with being a trailblazer. I see this work as blazing a trail, but blazing it nationally, and that you got to bring I call them all your favorite friends, industry, education, ETA, association partners, CalSTART, and others. You get to bring them all, and we're all at the same table and pushing towards the same thing. And to be and play a small role in leading that effort, I could not pass that up. I was like, this is huge. It's huge. And I think it also points to, because in the industry, and I think it's great that we get to point this out, this represents a great movement and moment for girl power as well. So that thing.
Yes, like we will sit here for the rest of this episode. I'm kidding. There's other things, but it's a great moment for that, for girl power, for changing the dynamics, right. The face of our industry, becoming even more welcoming,
right.
To everyone, but
for
girl
people
power.
to see themselves in these roles. And when I think about it as well, growing up in a small place, 1,500 strong, everybody knows everybody, and to realize that each day, whether it was becoming CEO, for the youngest CEO to serve in that leading the workforce organization spot, which I did, I got to live out my dream because people believed in me, people poured in me. I want to do that same thing, pour into others, have a system that pours into others, whether that's industry, whether that's individuals. And I think that we can do that. So that's the big reason for me of why I want to do it and why I'm passionate 24/7 about this work.
I love that. And it just, to me, it's a great reminder to us as people, like forget our professional lives. When we pour into others, when we do those good things to help someone else, it ideally will inspire them to do the same. And so then we've got this pay it forward in full momentum, because it's like, wow, people poured into me. That's how I'm here. So I can pour into someone else. And then you just start multiplying those numbers.
We all
and then
stand
we
on
all
the
get better
of someone else. And because of that, I want to make sure that our shoulders are strong as we make this movement across the nation to do just that. Yeah.
Yes. And then workforce readiness, that becomes a critical piece. Like, what are you seeing that? Like, why was that so critical as we transition into this? Like, as we're lifting people up?
So as we're lifting people up, it's not just about saying that there is, opportunity. They have to know how to access it and where they fit into that. And because so it's access and opportunity combined. You can't have one without the other. Otherwise, you're leaving some people out of that. So what work readiness, I believe that the pipeline has to start early. We have to start introducing what these new opportunities are. And so that whether you're in the K through 12, K through 20, or maybe you're, at what you might consider a dead end job, or maybe even a career changer, or maybe you're within the IBEW system already and you're wondering, what's that next rung up for me? Readiness for these opportunities is critical. That can start with having an awareness about what exists and what we're doing, which is why we're pushing so hard to make sure, whether it's internally or externally, that everybody understands the Clean Technology Training Trust and the different roles, that it's not just, though we're focusing initially on technicians, both for the transportation and manufacturing, the mechanics, and of course, the industrial manufacturing technician, because those are the most critical right now in the work space. When we're thinking about workforce development, I also pair that with that we want to get ahead of the future, meaning right now with these two areas, the reason why there's such a shortage is because no one really can plan for that. We are wanting to take that lead role and create. These are new roles. They didn't exist.
Right.
They didn't exist.
Right.
Hence the reason for emerging. So we all, and I'm certain that our listeners will appreciate, we've all heard about vehicle purchases and new equipment purchases, and everybody's going to be playing, well, what didn't get planned and have, I think, at the same level is the workforce. You can't have this new equipment, especially if you're going to be thinking about safety and everything else and maintenance, without a trained and skilled workforce. They have to be thought about at the same time. So work readiness and being prepared day one, again, building on the IBEW history, safety, and quality, and now layering in transportation and manufacturing. That's what we want to do. We realize that whether it's community college, technical colleges, associations, and others, there are many ways to be a feeder into our apprenticeships. We want to make sure that they are multiple ways in communities throughout this nation, that people can follow those pathways and make their way to IBEW and into any of these apprenticeships that we offer.
And it just speaks. So there's this slogan that used to go around of, we're the best kept secret. And it was, it's like, okay, that had its place. I don't know that it was ever a good thing by any stretch, but it had its moment. That is not the moment we're in. And I think as you talked about access, we're past curtains with the technology, with the information. I think COVID even accelerated it. It's like, no, we want to know what's going on. We want transparency. Yeah. I don't want you, guiding me into something, but not revealing everything. And then I get there and I get kind of slapped in the face. Yeah. So this idea of access, and tell me how. Show me where the opportunity is. Help me, lead me into this. It's like, I can't figure out, there's no reason not to. Like, it doesn't make sense. So I love that.
With a microphone is what we're doing. So as many platforms that are out there, call it, that's where we are. That's where we plan on planting our voices. And we want to do that again in collaboration. Hence the reason why it's so important to be on the podcast with you today, is that, it's important to get the word out, but it's also important to get the word in. And a lot of our listeners are in. And so I don't want to go into any community or pocket across this nation and they don't know what the Clean Technology Training Trust is, or at least curious about it and how they can get involved.
Right. Oh, we do need like C-triple-T shirts or something. You may already have this in the works.
You know what? I don't, but I think that sounds good. And I would absolutely love to wear, perhaps we can even do that. I know we got the upcoming training coming up in July. That major training that NTI.
Yes. Yeah. Wait, I just am realizing we're going to be there together then.
We're going to be there together. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
We can continue.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Perhaps we can do a live one or something. Maybe that's where we connect again about what we're seeing. Like, what's happening here? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it. I was more like, I get to hang out with you. I was sadly not thinking about work at that moment.
Here I am with the microphone again.
The work. I swear it's about the work. All right. So what's at stake? Like, serious question. Like, it's a little, like deep, but like, what's at stake if we get this right? And then we got to talk about it. What happens if we get it wrong?
Well, I think and that is absolutely important to talk about that, because if we don't get it right, then there are all the safety of our workforce is in jeopardy. I think the reliability and productivity that goes with our workforce without having a trained workforce, all of that is lost. All of those things that matter, especially where we're at a point in our country where we're saying that, especially when it comes to manufacturing, that we want to do that here. We want the United States to be the home for that. And we want to do, because there are lots of demands out there or requirements about even electrification of vehicles. You must do it, mandates by these dates. Well, we don't get there without that. We're not going to meet those goals for our country, nor are we going to be able to meet the goals of industry, and nor are we going to be able to lift up the very things that we talk about, where individuals are able to take care of their families, be self-sufficient and on a path. So, and communities will suffer as well when we don't have everyone contributing. So lots of reasons for us all to be on the same page with doing it. And then, of course, like you say, the converse of that, if we don't, then we just see that picture as it gets painted, and it's not a good one. So we've got to do this.
Yeah. Because somebody's going to do it.
So somebody's going to do it. But here's the thing. Why not get the very best? Why not get the very best? IBEW is the gold standard for a reason. And the affiliation, as they say, affiliation matters. And that's why we're so excited to be in collaboration and doing this work for the IBEW membership.
Yeah. And you mentioned safety, you mentioned reliability, you mentioned trust. And those to me are our core values.
Absolutely.
For what we're trying to do across the board. And so it just would make sense. Like, yes, let's add this and make sure that this work, is all of that, right?
It's not a sales job. It is tried and true. 130 plus year history, tried and true, known for it. And we want to not only be known for the history, we want to be known for the future. And that is the work that we're doing. Yeah.
That's it. It's like you can pay homage to the history while pushing forward to what's coming. And I think you've really touched on this, but this trust, the CTTT, because now I find that really cool, so I'm going to say it a lot. This is creating meaningful, and I think that word's important, like meaningful career pathways. How do you see it doing that?
So not only is it a career pathway day one, but it's also the future. It is such that you can continue to build on it, to add on it. But because think about the advancements that we're seeing in technology, they're not going to slow down. So making sure that our members and the prospective members that we'll be bringing on across the country have the tools and skills that they need to be successful, to be able to move along with, I call it the speed of industry, is critical. And so we want to make sure that our workforce, our membership have those tools, have those, not only the critical, I call it the critical ones that, hey, you got to have the technical, but also the other part that we have to mention is with technology, and that I call it the AI essentials, because whether we like it or love it, it's already there. So how do you work along with it? It's alongside, not replacing, but alongside. So education becomes power in that, and how we communicate and how well we communicate that throughout our membership, it will pay dividends, not only for IBEW and its continued growth, but also for employers who want this trained workforce and are at right now, like where are we going to get it from? We want them to be, without a question, to be the training partner of choice. That there are many others, but of choice, you come to IBEW Clean Technology Training Trust.
Right. Yeah, because we're moving at the speed, right? We are. Sometimes it feels like the speed of light. Sometimes it feels like that, but it's like, yeah. All right. So practically, what does this work look like in action?
So what this work looks like in action is actually partnering and sitting down with employers. Hence the reason why I'm currently in a location right now, meeting with industry today and making sure that the design that we create for their workforce, for their apprenticeship, matches not only what they need right now, but that we're also pointing to the future of what it will look like and what skills do they want to point to in the future. So doing that collaboratively. Also I call it pressing and pushing employers to say, don't just think about now, but think about how technology is moving into this workspace. Think about some of those problems or those areas where you've had to slow down production and bring in another team of people to do the work. What if you invested in those members right there, that workforce right now, and that they became the problem solvers? That they, it's all of that, having those conversations. So just making it practical is working alongside the employers to create a training strategy that not only supports their current workforce, but also is a gateway for the new talent workers that they hope to bring in. It is not, as we think about apprenticeships where might be coming off the shelf and perhaps stale. This is one that is live and is living and growing each day with that employer. So that's how I view it, and that's how we're communicating it to our employers, and it's resonating because they remember the old and they want to make sure that what we're doing stands the test of time for inside and for outside, those coming in and those that may be even, thinking about progressing throughout the organization. We call that retention. We're focusing on that. Yeah.
Right. Because any successful, and I know success can be somewhat relative term, but a business knows, a business-minded person, an organization or company understands you can never just look at now. You certainly can't focus too much on before. You've got to look ahead. And so this is providing really a reminder. Hey, keep thinking.
We're an extension.
Look at what you can do. Look at what's
exactly. The goal is to be an extension of their HR team where you focus on human talent, that you have inside. Again, how are we moving those individuals so that they feel valued, they feel invested in, right? And that at the same time that you're being able to receive the benefits from that investment by way of the production time is great. The problem solving is great. And for those that you're trying to attract, they realize that with this apprenticeship that this employer has got it. They understand that it's a combination of technology and work skills and that they're aware. And because they're aware, I want to work for this employer. So it's valuable in so many different ways. And I think that's been the most exciting thing for me, to unpack it in this way and to have employers say, wow, that's a good idea.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you who benefits most from this work, but I was like, I think you just answered that and said everybody. There's no losers in it, right?
That's the thing. I'm like, I feel like, with the Girl Scout cookies, to use that, everybody, understand, and everybody, the Girl Scout wins, the boy, all of us win. And so in this case, I'm not selling cookies, but I'm definitely selling this piece of workforce development and how this is something that everybody benefits to at the maximum level. And, to be a part of doing this, both for the employers, they realize that they do this for their workforce and for their bottom line, and for communities, that they ensure that individuals have a pathway that allows them to be self-sufficient and contribute to their tax base, and for workers to be able to not just have a job, but to have a career. Oh my goodness, it's a trifecta. Yeah. It is.
Everybody wins. I think you did just probably jinx me that the next time I go to the store, there's going to be Girl Scout cookies there and I'm going to have to buy them. So thanks for that. I didn't expect that on this podcast, but I'm not sad. Let's say I am not sad.
You create the connections that people remind them, and then people think about girls are like, So, but yes.
I get that. All right. So I'm listening to this podcast and I want to learn more. I want to get involved. How can I do that?
Absolutely. We would love for you to get involved. You can visit our website at thecleantechnologytrainingtrust.org, or you can also follow us on LinkedIn. So many different ways to plug in. On our website, there is a contact form. You get to describe what kind of relationship you'd like to have, whether it's having us come out to be a speaker, or whether that's, looking for a training partner, all of that and more. So please don't hesitate to look us up, but know that we do not have any boundaries when it comes to going across this country and looking for collaborations to be had. So thank you for the opportunity to just be on the podcast. It has been wonderful.
Oh, well, anytime I get to spend with you, again, it's like for those of you that weren't there, which is most of you, all of you, we met up at didn't even know we were going to see each other, met at an event, and it was like instant chemistry and magic. And so I'm like, anytime I get to talk to you is exciting. But okay, speaking of exciting, what are you most excited about? What's ahead? Like, what's next? Like, what's kind of got you just waking up thrilled to start your day?
Oh my gosh, so many things that I'm excited about. I'm excited about the conversations that we're having with industry and those that are saying, yes, we need these apprenticeships yesterday. So excited about that. And to know that because of the model that we created, we're not boxing industry in. We're saying, hey, we can be nimble to modify our approach based on what you need. So that's exciting. And also about our National Advisory Council. That it's a ton of individuals from across disciplines, whether it's education associations, industry, that have joined in this movement of the Clean Technology Training Trust, and to know that there's this belief in the work that we're doing early on. We just recently also signed we have a formal partnership with the University of Michigan's EV Center. I mean, it's those levels of collaboration. I know that we're going to repeat many times over. So that's the excitement. And I hope the listeners also hear the passion and excitement and want to be a part of this work as well.
Yeah. And it's happened fast. And I think that's something, I mean, I haven't been around. I guess you and I met and talked about it in January of this year, but it seems like you are moving at the speed of light. I mean, just from what we talked about in January, and now we're talking, and I'm like, wow, that's a big difference of what's happened just in that short few months.
So being I call it innovator / executioner, to be able to execute the work. I think for me, it probably comes across as slow, but everyone around me is like, no, this is like, what are you all doing? How are you doing that quickly? And I point to collaboration. It is not the strength of it is the strength of us and the we team that we're bringing along with this. And that the voices of local, and I would be remiss if I didn't say in this, because they have been absolutely phenomenal in this, is President Cooper, IST Noble, for IBEW, full support, just have been amazing. And my board of trustees led by Chairman Dave Reeves. Phenomenal.
I love Dave. I love Dave.
Phenomenal. So that's where the energy and the push comes from, because it's just amazing support system. So you can't help but win when you have that kind of support and system in place.
And now we're back to the we. This how important. Yeah. Like, you don't want one person. You don't want just two people making all the decisions, making all the moves. Like, no. There's power. There's strength. There's safety in numbers. And we need each other.
And safety in being able to push people and say, in our system, and say, oh, no, it could be better. Or no, I wouldn't suggest you do that. Being able to have that space and place to be able to do that, I think that's what we've created. And because of that, we're not holding anything sacred. We're saying we want to get better and better. That just opens the door for so many other opportunities. So I'd love to come back, because I think the sky's going to be the limit on what it is that we do. The same holds true with the ETA. I mean, that momentum that the trust is also experiencing, it's coming by way of the strong partnerships and collaboration, and how you all, ETA, has embraced the trust. I mean, I feel so connected. It's one of the prized partnerships that we have. And just want to thank you all for that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're coming back, and we'll talk about this. But I've already told you, I want to do just a whole motivational podcast. So we're going to leave all of this stuff aside and just talk about how do we get better.
We can do it.
Like, that one's coming. Okay.
We'll call it Monday
Dr. Moore,
Inspiration or something.
We're going to have to do daily. No, that's too much. We'd never get anything else done. No, I appreciate you taking your time. I know trying to get on, scheduling anything on calendars, especially when you are so busy and traveling everywhere. So thank you for making time for this and for sharing your love for people, really, and growth and change. I'm energized by talking with you.
Well, the pleasure is all mine, and I look forward to the next time.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you all now understand why Dr. Moore and I became fast friends. She's incredible. She is so focused and passionate and so easy to talk with and so very real. Thank you, Dr. Moore. Thank you for being with us, for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule. You're changing the world. And we're so grateful that you shared your energy and passion with us and our listeners. And speaking of you, the listeners, huge, big thanks to you for always taking time to join us. And remember, we do want to hear from you. If there are topics you would like us to cover, send me an email, saywhat, that's SAYWATT, at electricaltrainingalliance.org. Until we chat, stay connected through our newsletters, blog posts. Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to the podcast, tell someone about it. Stay powered up, and we will see you next time.
Say what?